First on my list, I had Renita Bonadies. And for the public, one of the things as I was reading through our 700 pages of bylaw changes that I admit I had not practiced as board president was we do require name and then address. And if you're not comfortable stating your address, please give it to Sarah afterwards. Appreciate it.
Good evening. My name's Renita Bonadies, Homer Township. After the closed session on August 19th board meeting, Joe and I came back in for final comments. There was the comment, which President Roush referred to, that said committees are posted on our website for each of the dates and times when we do meet, and those are open meetings. I sent an email and requested a copy of the posted meeting schedule. I never received that document. Rather, I received an email from President Roush, which basically summarized what he said at the beginning of this meeting, that he had mistakenly and needed further clarification. And that they did have a practice of posting when subcommittees do meet, and the need of an open meeting will continue. But how would the public know if it becomes an open meeting other than seeing a printing on the building? Because we don't all walk past the entrance to this building to know if there's a public meeting from one of these posted meetings that shifts. The comments at the last meeting seem to be an allusion to the public that the school board is being open and transparent with the community. If there is nothing to hide from the public and the community, and the district is being as transparent as they want the community to believe, why aren't these meetings open to the public? And by the way, Joe and I did go to the FFO meeting on last Monday, and we were called aside by the superintendent, who told us that we were not allowed to be at the meeting. That actually was not her position to do that, as it's not her meeting. It is the committee of the board that, and the chair would have been responsible for that. We elect the school board members, and they give their authority to the superintendent, which is their employee. Also, I noticed that over 8 years of meeting agendas and minutes seems to have disappeared from the website. The archive went back to early 2012, but when I just went back and was looking for stuff, it only goes to October of 2020 now. And I'm just curious if that was an intentional or an oversight when the new website was set up, because that seemed like a lot of data to just disappear. Finally, my question is this. How did a study committee, which makes no decisions, decide to spend over $133,000 on the May 2024 special election for the millage renewal? That discussion never took place in public, was never a recommendation brought before the full board for a public discussion, and was never voted on. That number was never in the paper for the public to see. That election could have been done for free in August. Will the public know all of the information this time, or only that which helps encourage the desired outcome? Will this very low propensity election see even less than the 17.5% of registered voters deciding the masses how their property taxes will be impacted? We can and should do more to help educate the public rather than hide some inconvenient facts.
All right. Joe Bonadies.
Greetings. Joe Bonadies, Homer Township. First, a disclaimer. I am not a bond expert, but I do algebra fairly often, so I would like to go over some facts and some projections for the 2025 bond adventure. First, the 2015 bond was for $121 million and resulted in 2.95 millage rate. Less than 1 in 5 registered voters inflicted this cost on the entire district, and yes, landlords do pass that on to their tenants. So $100,000 taxable value costs you $295 a year. I was not able to find the interest rate for the 2015 bond. Moving forward to the 2025 bond plan, while interest rates are likely to increase in the next year, I'll assume the interest rate will be the same in 2015. Thus, it will be 2 to 2.5 times as large a millage rate as 2015. And as this bond goes further in its life cycle, the state may max out the taxable value increases as they have the last 2 years, which is a de facto school tax increase added on by inflation each year. Additionally, higher interest rates on the bonds later in the term will mean that there will be less capital available for projects with a fixed millage rate. And finally, a lot of people in this county do not have income keeping up with inflation. Thanks to these joyful facts, yet again, we will find this bond vote in a single issue election, probably in May, which will again suppress the vote. Hopefully I'm wrong and the public will actually show up this time. So the ask from this dose of malinformation, i.e. that which is true but inconvenient. 1, what is the anticipated interest rate profile for this bond, optimistic and pessimistic versions, please? 2, what is the resulting millage rate from these different versions across the $200 to $300 range? And 3, based on the few early comments on input requested for the bond plan, you're going to ask for a lot of feedback to shape this. Based on the poor showings for superintendent search meetings, the front-end communication needs to improve. Unlike the superintendent search, all property tax payers will be directly impacted by this. Finally, the 2023-24 school reports came out. Congratulations. MPS eked out over at a level of half the school third graders can read at grade level, moving from 48.3 to 50.3 in the last school year. Your frequent talking point is, we're one of the best in the state. But adding to that missing context, Michigan is in the bottom 10 states. Thank you.
Stephen Sapiak, thanks for joining.
Steve Sapiak, 17 Erie Court. I've been doing electrical instrumentation work in industry for 43 years. I just retired in March out of the water treatment plant. The facilities there are a 1958 original plant, which is the east plant, and the west plant was put online in 1982. When I started there in 2010, it was in need of a lot of money and a lot of capital infusion. And it's gotten a lot better, I think to say. I mean, this municipality does really good. But I'm curious that when you were talking about Northeast Middle School, well, it was junior high when I was going to school here, but you know, I get the roofs, you know, because we had roof issues where I was in Bay City at wastewater. I also went through a $53 million upgrade in 2001 when I worked there as an instrument tech, so that was a huge upgrade. So I understand about infusing capital, but I think you're really reaching here by putting out another, you know, a new building, especially for a high school, and combining it all into one. I think it's a bad idea. And I graduated out of Dow High School, 1976, so that was a fairly new school. It's well maintained, I gotta hand it to you. You do a pretty good job with that. But if these facilities are in such need of repair, and I get it, you gotta infuse capital through the years, but who are you drawing your expertise and telling you that? Do you have someone in the maintenance staff here telling you that? Or are you hiring an outside contracting? I mean, you gotta, you guys you're gonna be fighting uphill on this about trying to push either one of them. You don't have two options, you got three. You got the two that you're talking about, and the third one is dealing with what you have now. And he's right, $50 million. And you gotta be upfront and honest with that. So, because I'll tell you what, I remember when Dow High was being built in 1968. I don't know if any of you people were around. I was, because I went to Cook Elementary. I was in 6th grade. So I remember when they had to stop building that because they run out of funds. Because this school board, not you people, but the one that was in charge back then, built that school with what operating capital, and they didn't have the smarts to get a millage passed. So that it stopped. They stopped building that. I don't know if you people are aware of it, but that's what happened. And you're lucky that they agreed to it. I don't think you're going to get the same people today agreeing to something like that.
Jennifer Farren.
I have to say my address.
Or you can give it to Sarah afterwards,
Okay.
either way.
Jennifer Farren, 313 Princeton. How many students come to MPS from outside of the county? That would be a good, number to know. I feel like MPS it keeps going down, enrollment keeps going down. Would scenario number 2 be located north of the mall? Do you have a location for the property that you would spend $6 million to purchase it, to put it there? For scenario number 2, have you thought about how many more buses and bus drivers you would need to transport all the students from within the city to wherever the location would be outside of the city? Because that's going to cost a lot more in the budget. And I don't see that being mentioned in either scenario. What about the loss of opportunities for scenario number 2? Each school has their own varsity, freshman, and JV team for about every sport. Combining option number 2, there's going to be students that lose opportunities for scholarships. Only the best people make the team, whether it's the drama club, the sports team, the band has to combine. So, there's a lot of opportunities that are going to be lost. Would MPS change their competitive ranks if both schools combine, where our class size change? Because right now, we play Mount Pleasant, Bay City Western, Freeland. Who will we play then? For a scenario number 2, would we have to go to Detroit, Grand Rapids? Do you have busing for students? The parents won't be able to attend a lot of the games. We work and, have a busy schedule. So those are all options that I see wrong with scenario number 2. Also, the second scenario with the combined high school, you have it at $209.3 million, but it doesn't include, there's no auditorium, there's no stadium, and there's no pool. Combining them is almost close to $285 million. Are you going to have students that travel elsewhere to practice? Are they going to still use Midland Community Stadium for games? They're going to have a school with no resources. I just don't think option 2 is planned very well. I can see refixing Northeast. My mom went to school there and she's almost 70, so I can see that. I see from speaking to Phil earlier today that we need a new elementary. We're at capacity for the elementary students. I can see vision 1, but I just can't support vision number 2. Thank you.
Thanks, Jennifer. Jessica Burdick?
Hello, my name is Jessica Burdick. I live at 717 Maple Street, and I am a parent of a Northeast student. I just heard about this new facility proposal on September 9th when I attended a music parent association meeting at Northeast. I'm appalled that I just heard about it. Thankfully, I was able to look up the video from December and watch it, and I've watched all the following meetings since then. Penny, in the August 19th meeting, you I can't read. You talked about the focused groups by invitation only. Again, why is that by invitation only and not open to the public to let us know what's going on and to be able to share our thoughts and concerns? Obviously, that was addressed at the beginning of this meeting. I have many questions that my 3 minutes will not allow, but there were also A through I options. That's 9 options that were not really discussed. Only the first 2 were discussed. Why does the public not have a vote in this? Other concerns that I have, your building limits, the graph that Brian showed, in the December 18th meeting. The new high school would have a building capacity of 1,900 students with a current enrollment of 1,842. That's not a lot of room for an influx of students. The Midland High, which would go to the 7th and 9th grade students, has a building capacity of 1,700 with a current enrollment of 1,814 students. Again, not a lot of wiggle room. What happens with our teachers? Penny, you stated that teachers are one of the most important factors in our students' learning. There's no way this new school plan would need the amount of teachers we currently have. My next concern is how will this affect the music, athletics, clubs, and extracurricular activities? For example, you can't have 600 plus students in choir, orchestra, football, etc. So what? Only the best of the best students get to participate by audition? What are the classroom sizes? How will this affect the IEPs and the 504s? I've lived in Midland for nearly 30 years, and the Midland-Dow rivalry, that's always been a thing. The Midland-Dow football games, people look forward to that. I've heard people in the community in their 60s and 70s still being like, yeah, I gotta go to the Midland game, woo! We won't have that if you're combining two high schools together. And then speaking of football in general, the Midland Community Stadium was recently renovated. So do we actually need to spend another $25 million on a stadium? That just seems absurd to me. Of course, I want the best for our children, but spending the money on a new stadium is not going to help our kids graduate and succeed in life. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Anybody else?
Hey, y'all. So I've been here about a year and a half. I've been gone about 18 years. And where I was living, I guess I'm wanting to throw in my 2 cents and ask if you'd be interested in another option. Not that you don't have enough. I think the other ladies had amazing points, and I'm not going to ruminate them because they're on point. Busing is 100%. I don't know if y'all have ever budgeted busing before, but you're talking about diesel. I don't know if you've glanced over at how much diesel costs, how much it is to replace a bus, and what tires will look like later down the line when they're skidding off the road. I don't know where you plan on putting this new school at, but if it's on one of the highways that don't get a lot of traction in the winter, you're going to have a hell of a time with buses sliding across the highway, which nobody wants. But my suggestion, where I was from, they split all the schools up, and you have about 6 schools. And we did pre-K and kindergarten in one, first and second in another, third and fourth in another, fifth and sixth in another. 7 and 8 was the middle school, and then we had 9 through 12. If you're suggesting dividing for age, I would suggest dividing Midland and Dow 10th and 11th, and then, or 9th and 10th, and 10th and 11th. That way you still have your rivalry, you still have your high schools, but you divide the age gaps. If you're wanting to decommission Northeast, I would put Central Park back as to the intermediate it used to be until you can get Northeast back online, and then do as you need to with that school. Or just leave it as is and just keep Central Park the way, Central Intermediate the way it was. I don't know if you guys call it Central Intermediate anymore, but I just feel like there's a lot of budget misuse if you are looking at doing a lot of really unnecessary shit, really. That 50 million that you're talking about for Northeast would be more than enough to cover what you need. And it's a simple solution. And then you just use what you already have. I don't see why you'd need to add more, because what happens when your tax, your school taxes, a lot of these people, that are moving out and going into, your nursing home, like aging out, right? You're gonna run into where now you've got people who aren't making as much as your elders.
Thanks.
You're gonna run out of room.
Can we get your name too, please?
Christy Crow,
Thank you.
welcome.
Anybody else?
Hi, my name is Catherine Mayville, and I'm here in Midland on Buchanan Drive. Between the two, I really haven't done a whole lot of digging. This just came to my attention over the weekend. So I will definitely do my research before I come back any other time. But one thing I want to say, though, too, is in one of the proposals was sending 4th and 5th grades into a different building. Currently, I have 3 young kids. One who's 3 and will eventually start going into elementary schools, and I will have a 5th grader at the time when he does. And it is my plan, because we're only 2 blocks from school, that they will be able to walk together, because I am a working mom, my husband is a working husband. We are very busy individuals, and this way it allows us to send them on their way to school while we are running out the door to make it to work on time. And if this option does go in place, I won't be able to work the hours I work, and I won't have to cut back my hours, which will affect our income. So taking away the older kids when they help sometimes with the younger students, or trying, because currently I already have a high school and elementary students and a preschooler, so I'm already driving to 3 locations. It's really difficult if you're going to try to add more locations to my morning routine and other parents' routines as well. So that's it. Thank you.
Anybody else? Come on up.
Hi, Christina Matthews, Homer Township. I don't have I haven't decided which way I feel yet. Just have some comments, I guess, for the board based on what I've heard tonight. It was said that the enrollment has gone down from 15,000 at the height to 7,000. But in one of the videos I watched, it was said that we have enrollment increasing. So if you could address that at some point, I would like to know if it's increasing or decreasing more. That would be nice to know. Also, with the looking at other districts and how they have gone with similar designs, are the communities kind of the same? Because Midland has a good sense of community. And with the different high schools, someone had mentioned the rivalry between the 2 schools. I would like to know how the other districts that changed from 2 or more high schools into a community high school, how it changed the culture with the students and the interactions. I would really like to know that, if that information can be obtained. Because if it's going to really change the culture of the school, like increasing bullying, the loss of extracurricular activities for the students, that would be important to me as well, for my kids. And was there an increase in bullying? And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Is anybody before I close the floor?
Hi, Kiana. I'll give you my address separately. I have older kids, so we will be minimally, if at all, impacted by this. But my youngest one is an athlete, so I do have some concerns about what that will look like for him. However, I probably have an unpopular opinion of, if you want to be on the team, work hard. However, my question is with Dow High. I've heard rumors of what is or isn't coming, and I know that a lot of that will be answered as more comes out. But my oldest had to be moved from Dow High because of the mold issue since the flood. She went in there to get her Chromebook because she's doing all virtual, which we love. And just being in the building for a half hour, she was sick for 2 days. So I would like to hear more about how you guys are going to address that issue. And then is this going to impact school of choice, or the kids who are already here with school of choice, will they be grandfathered in? One of my son's best friends is from Beaverton, and he's only ever gone to Midland Public. To see him possibly be removed in 11th grade, that would be a concern for a lot of parents.
Yeah.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. The quick answer on school of choice is no. But anybody else?
Rosemary Roberts, Monroe Road in Midland. My concern is I'm obviously don't have kids in school. I have grandkids in school. I didn't know about this either until very, very late in the day. And so how do we get the public knowledgeable about this information, that there is this big thing? It takes more than a week to do any kind of research. So we need to get out with the public and let them know what all is being planned. You don't have my email. Why would you have my email? I need to have it in Midland Daily News. A lot of people don't even get that anymore because it's not what it used to be. So it's your responsibility and mine too to get the word out, but we need to get the word out. This is a big thing. It's a lot of money. And I was really upset about the last $133,000 for that last election. We could have paid a teacher for that much money. So anyway, that's my thing. And I'm a grandma, and I want my kids to have a place to go. Thank you.
Anybody else?